Hi, everyone. Today we have Dr. Wendy Schofer, a co-author in How Healers Heal. Hi, Dr. Schofer. Can you introduce yourself?
Oh, it's wonderful to be here with you today. Hi, I am Wendy Schofer. I am a pediatrician and a lifestyle physician from Virginia. We're a military family, so we tend to move around a little bit. Had to check exactly where it is that I live right now.
I'm in Virginia too. We need to chat about that some more. Okay, so tell us about how you got introduced to lifestyle medicine from pediatrics or wherever, and then how it's impacted your practice and how you use it in your practice today.
Yeah, sure thing. So I got to tell you, a number of years ago, I was working in a community nonprofit that was addressing the social determinants of health. And I was charged as, the pediatrician volunteer in the organization. They're like, you need to go out and, do research and find a pediatric diabetes prevention program that we can bring to our community. And I started doing research and looking online for programs that were effective, that were engaging. Um, and I was hitting a lot of roadblocks because, finding that there were a lot of programs that were out there that families just didn't really kind of stick with over time. But what I kept on finding as I was looking at diabetes prevention programs was this concept of lifestyle medicine. And it was something that just kept on coming up that, I was used to thinking of lifestyle as, well, this is just the way I live, or, and of course, lifestyles of the rich and famous and all this ridiculous stuff. So thinking of lifestyle and medicine in the same thought was something new to me. And as I looked at it, thinking about, well, it's the way we eat, the way we move, the way we sleep, the way we connect. I'm like, I've been doing this. This is what I've been doing all this time as I've been exploring and trying to get out of the office, address my clinical burnout that I had had, and how there were so many things that I was bringing into my life that were enriching to me. And I was like, you know what? That's lifestyle medicine. It's the movement, it's the connection, it's doing the things that are, yeah, fulfilling for me. And that's creating health for me. And so it just kind of all fit together and I dove head in. I was like, I need more of this. I want to be with other, physicians that are like-minded and also looking at using the way that we live to be able to create the health that we want.
Thank you for that answer. I've never thought about the actual word lifestyle medicine or the terminology lifestyle medicine the way you said it together. I really love that. That's really cool. So how did you incorporate it into your practice? Was your practice ready to engage in this even though you were already doing it in a different fashion to help your patients?
I think that more than anything, it added fuel to my fire as far as what I was already doing in the office. And I look at the way that I integrate lifestyle medicine as being a part of just what is unique about my delivery of medicine, medical care in the office. So I might be the only pediatric urgent care physician that's saying, yes, I do lifestyle medicine all the time. So it's just a part of the conversations that we have. It is really the lens through which I look at taking care of the whole person. And I know everybody comes to me, in urgent care, they're not having their best day. By definition, they're coming to me because they're not having their best day. But, really looking at how we can engage and connect with the whole person to be able to make it a little bit better. So a lot of that you're going to hear me say all the time the word connection. It's all about connection, how I can help connect with the patient, help them connect with what's important to them, connect with that health. And it looks different for every single person. But the other thing that I use in my practice all the time is the concept of just little steps, little shifts, little experiments. And that's something that I can readily describe that we do all the time in urgent care. just even think about what's just, one little experiment you want to try going forward. And sometimes it's not even that we've been discussing something that's like a lifestyle topic. It's not about nutrition. It's not about movement. It's not about weight, the things that we normally think of as lifestyle stuff. It's just me playing around with families. Hey, what's a little experiment you can do this week? What's something that you can try? Just a little, shift, a little change. And of course, it's just bringing in the fun and the play. And they go headlong into it. They're like, yeah, we'll try, whatever it may be, trying something different to eat, to drink, to move, maybe a new adventure, whatever it is. And we're just trying to keep it light and fun because ultimately, well, that's what speaks to me. But as a pediatrician, I really believe in the power of play for kids and for adults. And so that whole experimentation, little steps, how can we play around with this? It totally opens up the door.
That's amazing. Do you get follow-up because these are urgent care patients?
That's hilarious. So there are times I do see people, repeatedly. They can't book with me, but I do have a running joke about frequent flyer points. And if we're building up some kind of a relationship there, I do see people, repeatedly, but it's not that type of follow-up. I also have a couple of other different practice models. I do locums, and I will do locums for general pediatricians when they're going on vacation. And so building those, the relationships there. And then, of course, I've also built out my own coaching practice. And so I love, building the relationships and seeing folks over and over again there.
So you do have your own coaching practice. That's right. Can you explain how like someone can get involved with your coaching practice? And so say they saw you in urgent care and want to see you again. How does that work?
Yeah. Well, so it's something where I've built out a program called Family and Focus. And it's specifically created for parents who are worried about their children's weight. Because quite honestly, I found that no matter what our kids weigh, we parents are worried about our kids' weight. We've been told to monitor and control and keep an eye on and all these things. And it's doing a number on us as far as the way that we want to parent our children, and then how it is that we're helping our kids develop their own relationships with their food, their body, with themselves. And so that's why I work with parents directly to be able to help them understand, well, what does that mean to create a relationship? I can't just tell my kid what to do. Lord knows, if anybody tells me what to do, I'm going to tell them what to do, just like our kids do, like pushing back. So how is it that we can create those relationships without it being something that we're just kind of adding things on the list of things to do, or how it is that we're trying to always get our kids to change? Relationships are built from the inside out. So, what we're thinking and how we're feeling, and that's what's creating those, lifestyle habits that we're doing. And so we focus on that in Family and Focus. And we actually have a collaboration going on right now with my local medical school. We have researchers coming together to study the effectiveness of the program. So it's so exciting getting to collaborate. And all the time I've had folks asking about what's the evidence for my program. And I say, I'm creating it. But now I can say I'm studying it. I'm collecting the evidence so that we can really be able to share this much broader and wider.
That is so neat. And then you'll be able to publish your results with your specific coaching model. So do you coach the parents and the children, or mostly the parents, or just wanted to clarify for myself?
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I focus on working directly with the parent and, thinking about that part about parents that are worried about weight, how often we're addressing within one household. well, I've got this kid that's on this part of the growth curve. I've got another kid that's on another part of the growth curve. And so I come back to, okay, let me help the parent have the tools so that they can help the whole family. But it starts with us as parents being able to understand our own relationships, our own food beliefs, our own struggles that we've had over time. Before we can start telling our kids what to do, it starts with us. And so that's why I work directly with the parent. We create a ripple effect throughout the entire family.
That makes so much sense. I mean, you treat the captain of the chef of the home, and then you're going to affect the whole family and possibly extended family. That's great. I love that model. Okay. Well, we're going
Well,
to shift.
and I got to tell you, it starts off with me because, that was really the experience that I had in my own, coaching journey and with my family. It was because I was making changes, and changing my own relationship with, food and movement, my relationship with my body. But I also saw the relationships changing with my loved ones. And it's because I was changing. I was the one that was creating that, again, that ripple effect throughout the entire family. They all benefited. They didn't have to change a thing. It was me. It was totally me. And so that's what I'm sharing with other parents. And then they're creating that change, that environment that is changing within their own family.
And it's never too late to grow and change and improve whatever we want to improve within ourselves. So that's perfect. And you give them the tools, the access. I'm going to shift gears to the book a little bit, How Healers Heal. Why should doctors or non-doctors, patients, or other healthcare professionals learn more about lifestyle medicine and read this book?
I think of it as possibility, really looking at what is the possibility that looking at your lifestyle, looking at lifestyle medicine, looking at these different kind of stories, what is the possibility that you see in it for yourself? And so I think that it's important for others to be able to look at, hey, this is something that happened for that person, for that physician, for that family. What is possible for me? When we start asking those questions, we open up so much more. I'm going to come back to the word possibility, but we're just opening that up because we can see, hey, this is something that's happened or someone else's experience. I want a taste of that for myself. I want to be able to see how I can, again, come back to that experimentation. I want to see how I can take these little steps to maybe kind of have a bit of that path that someone else is on as well. It's not going to be the same thing. And you're going to see a whole lot of different stories, a whole lot of different paths that we've all taken that we kind of put it under the umbrella of lifestyle medicine. But it means so many different things to so many different people. And I think that that's what we can really share in the book about how, lifestyle medicine is by no means one size fits all, but it is something that can open up that possibility for each and every one of us to be able to create the health that we really want to be able to experience for ourselves and then also for our whole family.
I love that word possibility. It has so much in it. And then the human experience that you mentioned. Is there one thing that someone can take away from our video today that if they want to start making changes, is there one like concrete piece of advice you can give someone?
Always one little step, just asking yourself, what is the smallest little change that you just want to try on today? There's no obligation, there's no commitment, just one thing, just trying today. And I really open that up because it's one of these things that we often think that it's like some kind of like big overhaul or, big changes and it's just insurmountable. We create, big obstacles for ourselves. But what is it that we can just kind of shift a little bit, a little experiment, a little step? So I ask people to do that a lot. And it's something that the littlest shifts can make the biggest changes.
And each person probably has an idea of what they want to shift already. And you open that up with your coaching and discussion, I'm sure. What if they don't know where to start? What is like a concrete example? Would you start with like sleeping more or drinking more water?
Well, anytime somebody says they don't know, I'm like, let's say you did. So, because I don't have the answers. That's something that I've really been practicing as far as with taking off my doctor hat and kind of putting on the coaching hat. I do not have the answers for someone else, but they do. And I think that a lot of times we've just kind of disconnected ourselves from really taking that authority about our own health, about what the next step is that we want to do. We kind of give it to somebody else. And I work with folks all the time about saying, okay, well, I know, it's something that's not coming to mind right now, but let's say you did know, what would come up? That being said, I am going to answer your question another way too. As a pediatrician, I got to tell you, sleep always comes first. So if there's truly no other, kind of like thing that's kind of coming up right now, I will ask, well, what if we were to focus on one area? What could be possible there? And sleep is the one that I bring up just because it impacts all the other areas, all of them. As a pediatrician, if my kids are not having good, consistent, restful sleep, everything else gets kind of wiry. So I always start at the sleep.
I love the coaching model that I've been exposed to throughout and through you and through the pandemic and how I've grown as well. But thank you for expanding on that. And people do know once you kind of push them, I think. So I'm glad you're doing this work. Is there anything else you want to mention before we wrap up? And how can people contact you? And of course, I'll have your links to your program listed after this video.
Well, I mean, if you're really having fun here, come on over and join me at the podcast. So just put in a plug for that. I am the host of Family in Focus with Wendy Schofer, MD, because, well, I'm not very creative. How about that? Family in Focus with Wendy Schofer, MD. That's what it is. But you're going to hear weekly story-based tips and tricks and really just kind of getting to the heart of understanding these struggles that we're having right now as parents in how to raise a healthy whole family. So I'd invite you to come on over and check it out, and we can continue the conversation.
The podcast is a great way to connect. I'm so glad you mentioned that. Thank you so much, Dr. Wendy Schofer. And please, everyone, go out and read her chapter in this amazing book, How Healers Heal. Thank you.